Hey guys, how are you? Hope you're having a lovely Sunday. Today I thought it would be fun to show
that you have to walk in the sea.
Dylan through the years. So I know I've used a lot of old footage before, but I tend to kind of talk over it, or there's music over it or something. But I thought it would be fun to put, well, I missed out a few years because obviously that's when he was diagnosed, that's when I was in the thick of it. Didn't really think about getting my camera out and videoing that. So there's a gap, but here from 0 to 10. And yeah, hope you enjoy them. Jesus, hi Pooh. Hi Pooh, kiss kiss.
Okay.
Yeah, please. Good boy, Dylan. Yeah. Show Daddy how you can walk. Come on. That's it. You're like a little old man. Yes? Are you bouncing? What? Yes? What are you doing? Are you bouncing? So I'm guessing that's no to sleep then. No sleepies? Yes. Yeah. Yes. Baby, little baby. Joy, baby. Hey!
Let's do some counting on the resistance here. Oh, oh, oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1, 4, 3, 5. This is wrong order. Slick as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's right. 6, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. And come skate. Skate, go. Go.
Dan, is that your baby? Oh, lovely. Give him a kiss. Oh, lovely. Okay. Are you tickling your baby? Is that Dylan's baby? Oh, you're the best big brother ever, aren't you? Tummy, yes. Head, yes. Indeed. Yeah. Nose, yeah, gentle. Yeah, gentle. Yeah, take your hands up now. Good boy. Hi, babies. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's not 10 people here. Good boy, you're being gentle, aren't you?
Over there. Over here. Put the phone over here. So take her like this, and then we go look over and here.
Oh, wow.
There.
Great job. Great job, Dylan. Great job. Great job. Hide! Hide, hide! Ow! Ow! Is that Jane? Jane! Oh, poor Jane. Uh-oh, killed. Kangaroo! Run, Dylan! Run! What is it? Oh, fish! Uh-oh! I know! Let me! Hi, Dylan. Hi, Daddy.
Hi, Dylan. Say hi to mommy.
Go swimming. Go. Thank you. Thank you. Uh-oh, it's too big. It's too big.
I love you.
I love you.
I love you. I love you. I love you. Sing it. Sing it. Sing it. It's a birthday boy. Oh! Big jump! Big jump!
This movie is not about the Me Too and It's not about what happened after. It's about how the story was built.
Could we talk for a minute?
I've been waiting for this for 25 years. It's interesting to tell a part of history that hasn't been told, and it was a wonderful way of honoring what they did.
Will you give me just one chance to talk?
This is not just a true story. This is a story which had an impact on the world. We knew it all, but what we did not know is who are Megan and Jody, and what did it take for them to get to the point to push the button and publish it. It's about how these two women, these two working mothers, found a way to create an airtight story that they could publish in the New York Times that would affect that kind of change.
Hi. Hi. We're from the New York Times. I believe you used to work for Harvey Weinstein.
You have to imagine that every call you make is being recorded and you're being followed.
The greatest fear I had was fear of failure. Was Weinstein a scary figure? Absolutely. To sources, to the women he victimized? Of course.
As we continued to report, the stakes just felt higher and higher and higher, that if we were not able to publish this story, this predator would be able to go on and hurt more women.
It was like he took my voice that day, just when I was about to stop finding it.
That was something that was terrifying to us and also extremely motivating.
The only way these women are going to go on the record
Is if they all jump together.
I think that the individual transformation that a lot of us has had as a result of this reporting has allowed women's consciousness to transform, and that affects finding voice and being able to stand up for oneself.
there's such integrity at the heart of what they do and seeing actually what lengths real journalists go to.
The core of this movie is the encounter, the collision between something so intimate and something so vital to be talked about.
This is all going to come out then, publicly.
We're not activists, we're journalists, but we believe that with truth and putting certain problems on the table, we can begin solving them, even if it's very messy.
I think it's a really uplifting movie. It's really inspiring to see the huge difference that a really small number of brave people make when they decide to step forward and speak the truth. It's incredible. Truth matters.
I'll do it. I'll go on the record. It's a film of women being courageous. I don't think there's that many examples of that on screen.
Do you wish you hadn't signed up for this story?
Do you?
No.
Here is a film of countless examples of female heroism. That's something really to be celebrated.
I hope women come to see this film feel represented and feel that speaking up when something happens could be something that is supported and could make a change. We're not there yet, but as long as we keep going on this path, the change is possible.
It's bigger than Weinstein. This is about the system to
I'm silenced. I want my voice back.
Do you know that the way to overcome ADHD, autism, behavioral challenges that most parents don't even know about? In my free web class, I'm in children and in adults.
I had something on, do you know anything about
Challenges often look like lack of
autism?
I have heard about it. I have no idea what a YouTuber and her son is autistic. But yeah, I've heard about it. I haven't really known anyone personally.
Yes.
Though.
Yeah,
But yes, I have heard about it.
because I wanted to at least cover some of that, like leading a group with autistic kids, because I actually had to do work with autistic. And it's one of my first social work jobs. It did not pay very much at all. It was like $12 an hour. Because I didn't have a license. You can do this work with. Ideally, you would want to be an ed specialist.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, isn't like some of the, I don't want to say symptoms, but some of the things that come up with caring for autistic children is like they feel uncomfortable to certain sounds or stimulus?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In fact, there's a good cartoon that explains that. Was it at least playing some of the video and then it just jumped to a commercial?
Well, actually, the commercial that was playing
Was it about autism?
It was for a movie.
Oh,
And
once.
it's watched, She Said, that's a tongue twister, but I don't know, in the advertisement, one of the characters in the movie said, this is about, the government protecting abusers, so I'm like, it might be a social work movie, I don't know, but it wasn't talking about
Interesting.
autism though.
I know. I wonder if the commercial pops up here too, because it's
But yeah, that's kind of one of the things I can remember is like they don't, sometimes different sounds or like stimulus make them uncomfortable, so they, I don't know, they just show signs of being uncomfortable.
right. Yes. There was actually a good cartoon that I used to always show that was specific to describing autism. Maybe I just need to search just that, but that was one that was helpful for me because I would use it for folks. So, okay, here's quick. There's a spectrum too. So you could have kids really triggered, also kids that.
According to the Centers for Disease Control, autism affects an estimated 1 in 54 children in the United States. You've probably heard a lot of thoughts and ideas about autism, but here's an overview of what we know. Autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, is a neurodevelopmental disorder that affects a person's social and communication abilities. Persons with ASD also have areas of strong interest and sometimes have repetitive behavior and sensory sensitivities. Autism is sometimes associated with strengths in the areas of visual memory, music, art, math, and science. But each person with ASD is unique. Autism is a spectrum disorder and varies significantly from person to person. Some people with ASD may require significant support in their daily lives, while others may need less support, and some live entirely independently. Changes in brain development associated with autism begin during the prenatal period. These changes are associated with differences in genetics. It is possible to diagnose ASD when a child is between 18 and 24 months of age. Early behavioral intervention helps children with autism learn to communicate and socially interact and has a significant impact on long-term outcome. Support for learning social and communication skills can be helpful throughout adolescence and adulthood. People with autism sometimes have other conditions, such as higher rates of sleep disorders, ADHD, anxiety, depression, and gastrointestinal issues. Treating these co-occurring conditions can make a big difference. As adults, people on the autism spectrum can become employed and contribute in important ways to society. The
So
world
that's the one unique thing is you could have what's called Asperger's and you're totally able to make it through high school, you graduate college, and you can have a job too. So that's the further piece on the spectrum that comes up a lot. And that's some of the kids that I actually worked with that were Asperger's.
world is a better place if the qualities of people who are neurodiverse are accepted and valued. The Duke Center for Autism and Brain Development provides state-of-the-art interdisciplinary clinical care, conducts cutting-edge research, trains the next generation of scientists, and advocates for public policies to help ensure people with autism reach their full potential.
Never seen that one. But what we had was more like
Most
a
of us
day
are
camp.
trying to take steps in the physical world to make our dreams happen. But that's actually the wrong place to focus.
There's no such thing as completely normal. I mean, there's some people with holodesiac. That would mean somebody who's addicted to holidays, birthdays, death dates, and other anniversaries. Impersonitis. Somebody who is addicted to different voice impersonations and they cannot find their own voice, and some people may be stuck with it.
That's interesting too. I've had one guy do impersonatitis where he like imitates lots of different voices of people, famous actors and stuff. So
I mean, there's some people with disabilities who want to try to be normal and to fit in. But being a person with Asperger's, they may have some very clever ideas that may become unheard of in the normal world. Well, in terms of growing up, I preferred to mostly play on my own. When I was at kindergarten, I preferred to be rocking on the rocking horse, and the teachers were trying to encourage me to interact with the other children. The horse then was taken away, but I preferred, even without the horse, to sort of play or do things on my own. Autism affects my life in several ways. I have to sort of know on a repetitious level, like how to do things accordingly. Changes are very difficult in a routine. It's hard to interact with people. Even though I like to get to know people better, I try to listen very hard and try to become interested and gradually be friends. Sometimes it does work, but sometimes I know the subject matters are sort of limited with normal individuals. I've had cases where I felt turned down, but silently. I sometimes feel disappointed and hurt, then I retreat and go back into my own indifferent world. I may daydream and sometimes wish of certain fantasies, things I sort of make up as a way to try to hide from reality. Something to make me happy and to absorb into my head, such as music and the arts. I tell you, I'm not the Rain Man. I scattered the day. Shoot off, bibbidi blah blah. Skibbidi dabbidi blah blah.
So you can see he can hold a job. He can do a lot of things. And a lot of the groups that you'll see might be in a autism summer camp or an autism school, or even working with folks that are doing things that
If you're an Ohio homeowner,
we as social workers get to learn how to work with. And there's a lot of funding for it, a lot of
Summer camp
grants.
is a treasured memory for a lot of Canadians, but finding the right camp can sometimes be a challenge for parents whose children have special needs. Stephen Buddycombe has more what one project in Nova Scotia is doing to change that.
This is the only camp these children have ever attended. Each camper has their own counselor, their own team here each week for the summer. These children are living with autism, most severely affected, most are nonverbal, at least to the average person. But Lex's counselor, David Patterson, is not average. This substitute teacher chooses to spend his summer here.
Lex is such an amazing kid. You often think with kids who are more nonverbal can't communicate, but nothing could be further than the truth. He sings songs when he's happy, he sings songs to communicate. All week long, he had a song that went, wah, wah, we didn't know what it meant. But his mom came the next morning and said he woke up at 4:30 that morning and started singing the song. And it goes, walk and walk with Dave. He was excited to go walking with me to the swimming pool. And so that's the kind of thing where he'll make up his own songs and sing them throughout the day to communicate. And it's really a beautiful thing. It's melodic, and it's just the happiest noise you can hear at the summer camp.
This camp means the world to the children, but means even more to their parents, like Lex's mom, Carrie Cotton.
And just to know that he's with a one-on-one person that understands autism and that I know he's gonna be safe.
Some parents, like Tracy Avery, can't hide their excitement. She has twin boys living with autism.
They're so excited. You can tell they're just jumping out of their skin, waiting to get in the car to come here. So it's something we all look forward to. I wish it was the whole summer. It's only 2 weeks, but it means that I can actually get things done. I can get groceries. I can clean my house, and get a few minutes to myself as well.
These campers do it all. Each day a field trip of sorts. A walk up the street, hop on a city bus to a nearby lake, and then splish splash. And make no mistake, these kids learn and benefit from the experience.
They get to interact with their peers in a way like no other environment can provide. We don't get to do that in any other situation. School's not the same as summer camps.
Parents like Lex's mom are grateful for this camp, but they say much more is needed.
We need this times 10. We need this at March break. We need this at Christmas time. We need it.
The people who run Autism Nova Scotia would like to see a permanent home for the camp. Right now, depending on where the cheapest facilities can be found, the entire camp is run on donations. The need is clear.
We are definitely getting better at diagnosing autism, but even though our diagnostic and early identification is getting better, we are definitely seeing increasing prevalence. So there's a lot of research that's happening right now to determine, what might be contributing factors to that.
There is hope this camp will be integrated into other programs run by the city, but until then, it will be entirely on donations that, well, you can hear for yourself. It means the people involved here and the magic this camp brings to the kids, the counselors, and the parents.
You just have to get to know them as individuals. We can play, and that's what the most magical part of this place is all about.
Stephen Pettycombe, CBC News, Halifax.
So, the one that I was at was actually called Stepping Stones in Cincinnati. And I sometimes wonder how many different Camp Stepping Stones there are, because I think this is the one that I was actually at. And you heard at the end of the video, they had to get connected with the city. So like having city funding, that's why sometimes when you write your groups, the funding sources and ways, I know we don't emphasize it enough in the outline, but how are you going to get funded? On grants.gov, is there a way to look up all these different funding sources to pay for an autism camp or a group for teenage girls or a addiction recovery center or any of those? So wait, isn't Katy Perry one of the famous persons isn't that a famous singer?
Right, but I don't think it was.
I don't think it is her. I'm confused, but I feel like,
That is a singer.
okay. I
Hi, my
think,
name is Katie Perry, and I'm the arts and crafts specialist here at the given location of Camp Stepping Stones. So just a little bit about myself. I got started as a volunteer here when I was going into 8th grade. I was about 13 years old, and instantly I fell in love with it. It was just amazing getting to spend, usually it was a week of my summer, just with these extraordinary individuals. So last summer, it just seemed like a seamless transition going from volunteer to staff, and it became something I got to not just do for a whole week, but a whole 9 weeks. Volunteering really helped me figure out what I wanted to do with my whole entire life. I'm a special education major at BGSU, and I'm going into my 3rd year. I absolutely love it. So the decision to come back was a very easy one to make. So I'm super excited to be on my 2nd year of staff here and get to hang out with all the different groups.
let me see if there is So they also have to write a lot of grants to get their funding going. Here's all the videos. So this is where I actually started the same way as a volunteer in the 8th grade, and then they hired me in 1992 or 93, and I might have been they would give you $1.25 an hour, and the rest was considered volunteer. So they hired you, they paid you, but not very much. It was like, maybe it was like 2 to 5. Even in 2006, when I did it with my MSW specializing with autism, they started me at minimum might have been $5.25 an hour back then. And they saw quickly that my social work training and master's was worth it. So they raised me to $10 and then $12 an hour. But it was interesting that, finding funding and finding ways to pay for these things are difficult. So one of the grants they wrote here was called, the program ended up being called the Step Up Program. Let me see if they have this Step Up program in here. I didn't realize they had this many videos already, but doing the day camp, and they also have an overnight location that I did fresh out of my bachelor's. So if you ever want to do like internship stuff, I think when I did the thing for my bachelor's, they gave food and housing. And here, all you're skilled with is running different groups. So, I know that must have been during the COVID pandemic, I'm guessing. I have no idea why else it would be online. And then, yeah, they have the overnight camp is like 10 more miles away, but that's another one that's a long, long ways away.
Okay, you're all good to go. Go ahead and pull around and park back there.
I guess all this was during the pandemic. I always forget we had all this stuff going on. I thought this would actually show what they do in the overnight, but I think it was just for the pandemic. Interesting. So, some of the funding I was showing on Monday was the different grants that I had helped with and worked on with Rod Huber and to do horticulture therapy. Is again, I picked a group of refugees to lead, and we had no funding for it. So sometimes writing up the big final paper, digging in to find out where funding would come from, how much money is, and so when I helped him write some of this up, I had to look up paying for a counselor 20 hours a week at $15 an hour, $15,000 a year, a social work supervisor, which was 4 hours per week at $15 per hour, so $3,000 to supervise. Not a ton of money, but that would, if you had it full time, it would be like $30,000 a year. Chemical dependency counselor, assistant, 20 hours a week for $10 an hour. That's $10,000. Farm hands, 20 hours per week at minimum, so like $8 an hour. That's $8,000. Assistant farm hands for real minimum wage, so $7.55, and then another B. Yeah. Yeah. So depending on what group you're writing up for your final paper, detailing what everything will pay for, showing what you're going to pay for. And then we've got we've got a group leader on there. Let's see if the, have you looked up anything for like the group that you would want to run on grants.gov? Would you do Girls Circle or okay? So maybe like adolescent teen recovery. And here's some of the fun that comes up for it. Like advancing equity in adolescent health through evidence-based teen pregnancy prevention programs, teen pregnancy prevention, 2 rigorous evaluation, adolescent sexual health innovation network. And when you click on these, it shows you how much money is in there for it and how you would apply.
When you look up search grants?
Oh, grants.gov, and then I hit search. Yep, I went straight to grants.gov, and then I searched grant opportunities. And then that's what came up for those. It gets even more interesting when you click on it, because you could get $350,000, and they have 68 million available. You would want to apply by December 1st. So sometimes people writing a lot of these up don't want to jump in so quickly because, well, yeah, here's like the things that you might apply for. Focus is leading America to healthier lives, especially those who have suffered historic disparities. In support of this vision, OPA promotes health across the reproductive lifespan through innovative, evidence-based sexual and reproductive health and family planning programs, services, organizations working to reach adolescents to improve sexual and reproductive outcomes that promote positive youth development. The Office of Population Affairs has funds available to support cooperative agreements and advance health equity for adolescents, their family, and communities through replication of scaling medically accurate, age-appropriate, evidence-based teen pregnancy prevention programs. Dang, that's a lot of words all in a row. So yeah, you could do a search for those or dig in any of these that come up, and they give you the due dates and they have when they're posted.
So this is
For your final paper. Like if you're adding a grant for funding into it, like here's where I'd look for funding.
until we get here. And so what for us? Are these like people in government, civilians that have raised money for a certain cause?
These are all federal, so it would be like our U.S. government likely printing the money. So I know that's weird, but and then passing legislation to get. What'd you say?
It's very odd to think about.
Yeah, I know. You just print $1 billion.
Yeah, but it's illegal.
They printed $2 trillion during the pandemic. $2 trillion.
Just to put in the rotation.
Like to give out stimulus checks, to give fund to build the roads, stuff to fix the bridges, things to fund mental health programs, on and on. That's
And it's crazy because it's just paper, but we give it value in our system.
Right.
And it's like, if tomorrow money means nothing, I mean, we're going back to how do we make out
farming, basic needs, food, water, shelter,
Yeah.
and living. So.
But
No, I'm with you. So it's still weird to me. I still play in this money concept, but it is what pays our job. So that's why I want you guys to know the full circle, at least in the US, how it goes. And like you said, the deeper full circle of like, what is the money for? To give us a warm house to sleep in at night and a full belly to live in till tomorrow. Because that's really all it is, like food, water, shelter, clothing, transportation, gas and cheap energy are the biggest thing. So that's why I even dig into like a permaculture group, which is a lot on permaculture, about a permanent culture and feeding people. That's what my brother teaches on at the University of Cincinnati. And there's a lot of them. Oh gosh, there's so many.
It may be silly, but I'm still wrapping my head around like
Digital money, well, it's already here, but it's coming soon to a theater near you.
It's just like how's it equivalent? You know, me going to the bank and giving them $1,000, and they're just like, oh, here's a physical, or not physical, but digital $1,000.
Yep. What scares me about that is, furthermore, if it becomes like China and they see you have too many speeding tickets or buy too many jelly donuts on the way home, and they turn off your digital money. That's freaky to me. You know what I mean? Because that's where it takes away your autonomy and the ability to do things that is.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is like, you have, you know, people in different communities where, I mean, they still keep money in their mattress.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, it happens all over. I've had plenty of clients that do it.
I did it.
And I still keep a little stash in case I've had the bank shut down on me. You have a bank holiday, so you always want to keep something available. If it's in the form of food, fine, or firewood, great, but something that is of value. Coal, gasoline, fruit, plants, berry bushes, chicken, eggs, or even just chicken. So yeah, like I get it. I like to stock up for the future for sure. That's when hoarding does make sense to me, but you still don't want to waste with it. So like if you can stock up enough and be prepared for an emergency, but not have so much you waste it or not give it away to somebody. It's weird. And that's why I got certified here in permaculture, like do a permaculture group and live in a
If you like the idea of having a continual harvest out of your garden, basically replacing the grocery store with your backyard garden, then listen, this is seriously the fastest and easiest way to get started. And it's completely free.
I don't trust them, but I'm gonna open a whole new window. Interesting. I know. All right.
You got to check this out. With Seed Time, you'll set up a calendar based on your local area. Then you can click to add your crops to the calendar, and it'll automatically show you when to seed.
Probably another subscription, which I don't like subscriptions either. Anything that takes digital money out every 4 weeks is frightening to me. And I sign up inadvertently to a lot of them. So this is what my little brother teaches. He started it in New Mexico, which is where this is out of, the New Mexico Foundation. But learn how to live off your own resources.
Permaculture is a design system. It's not a technique or a set of techniques. When I'm teaching it, I tell people I'm not here to teach you how to do things. I'm here to teach you how to prevent things. Is how to select the appropriate response for any given condition.
Yeah, growing native food and local medicine and stuff, that's kind of important. Backyard gardening. And he does that in New Mexico. That's a desert.
One of my favorite permaculture writers, authors, is a gentleman living in Scotland named Graham Bell. And he described, I'm paraphrasing, but he described permaculture very simply as a way of arranging your life to be healthy and abundant without doing harm anywhere else. I love that because it's beautiful.
So my brother, brother teaches one of these classes every 3 months in Cincinnati. He teaches them out of the University of Cincinnati. I've never heard of that name, though, that guy said. Huh. I guess that is him. It looks like he's... But they try to just set up so you're collecting your own rainwater on your roof with catchment. You're also growing your own food. You're maybe producing your own electricity and energy and things of that nature. So it's a different way
Health
of
insurance
thinking.
can be confusing and unclear. One minute your doctor's in network.
So instead of money, you're kind of saving up other resources that are important for your community. It's really big in Australia and New Zealand, I think. Is that the island near Australia, New Zealand? They're always in the middle of the country somewhere, and they lead a permaculture group. So lots of animals all the time. Yeah. And they have
David Holmgren, and I'm best known as the co-originator of the permaculture concept in the 1970s with Bill Mollison. Sometimes there's two stories that are told about how the idea of permaculture really came about. One story is that Mollison was my supervising academic, and I was just some technical assistant to work with him. And then there's the opposite of that, which is I was the brilliant student and he was the academic who stole my work, which neither of those are true. I mean, for a start, he was my mentor while I was working on that permaculture manuscript. But if it had been left to me, the permaculture manuscript would have just rolled away in the drawer. It was Bill who was like, no, we're going to take this to the world.
Oh yeah, so that's his house. And it's designed so like they don't need much electricity for lighting. That lets in. It's also facing south, so that in the wintertime the sun goes into those windows and passively heats and cools the house. When these bloom in the summertime, they provide shade, so it's not super hot, and it can like shade everything. And then the grapes lose all their leaves in the winter, and then the sun can get in. There's solar panels up here. The whole roof captures water that they use for the garden and toilets and for cooking. They have the garden close by with that looks like squashes and like fruit trees and berry bushes. So my brother went out to here with both of those guys and took classes under them, and it's a cool little group that they teach.
The core of the idea of permaculture really came about.
That's a really cool little overview, though. He has like...
I mean, everything we do.
Right. Yeah, you can see they have their own electricity source, the panels. They have their own water runs into like a cistern, so you got 10,000 gallons of water. You've got fruit and berry trees out here. You got your chickens and your small garden here. You have firewood in the woods. So it's about design. So this dude was an academic, so he wrote it up, and now they teach it everywhere. My brother teaches that at the University of Cincinnati.
When I was coming towards the end of my first year in environmental design, and my interests were gravitating around ecology, agriculture, and landscape design. And I could see how two of these connected, but I couldn't see anywhere where the three crossed over and intersected. So I wanted to look at that.
So that's a big one. I tried to stop it on the ecology, landscape design, and my oldest brother got his degree in horticulture, so he does landscaping. My little brother does what he'll call his edible landscaping. So your whole yard is just fruit trees, berry bushes, a garden, and stuff like that.
At a seminar about how land is owned and controlled, there was a bloke there who said some really interesting things. He pointed out that the rabbit problem in Australia could have been solved by rabbit trappers, but they had no incentive to do so because they didn't benefit from the land being in better condition, from there being less rabbits. So what did they do? They farmed the rabbits on the farmer's land. So he was pointing out that the ownership of the land had this really adverse effect on the sustainability of the land. This guy thinks just completely different to the academic ecologists I've met, and that was Phil Mollison. I got chatting with him afterwards, and I said, well, I'm interested in this intersection between ecology, agriculture, and landscape design, and how natural systems could influence that. And he said, oh, how about this for an idea? If most places on the planet, nature creates a forest, why doesn't our agriculture, if not look like a forest, function something like a forest?
Yeah, like you notice how we have the big crops that are grown everywhere? But we don't have like a forest that's running the stuff.
Why is our agriculture all composed of only annual plants that grow and die in one year? Whereas in nature, there's a diversity. And that's exactly in that intersection. By understanding how nature designs, you make permanent agriculture and permanent culture in everything we do. And that became permaculture.
It comes from two Latin words, permanens, to persist through time, and culture, an activity that supports human existence. So put those together, it's a persistent system that supports human existence.
So Bill was my mentor. We were developing the first permaculture garden on the fringes of Hobart and persuaded me that we should publish it. But I didn't have a lot of the experience in all the different fields that I'm in. And so my passion was about doing those things, building Melanodora here. Whereas Bill was ready for a larger stage, taking permaculture to the world was his next agenda, to develop the beginning of the permaculture design course.
So those are all the elements they teach in permaculture, just like kind of what my brother teaches: observe how the sun and the rain interact, catch and store energy, obtain a yield, self-regulate, accept feedback, use values and renewables, produce no waste, design from patterns to details, integrate, don't segregate, use small and slow solutions, use value and diversity, use edges and value the margin, and then creatively use and respond to change. So I know we have one more minute.
And that mechanism was really how permaculture spread, not just in Australia. So although I was co-originator of the permaculture concept, Bill was the father.
Oh, I forgot he died. Yeah, my brother went to his classroom.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. That's just a small taste of what I've been shooting.
That dude's old too. I guess if you eat that many greens every single day, you live forever. For real. You eat that many greens and drink that much water every single